we've had a number of inquiries over a very serious event, beginning, I guess, in early evening hours. First call to police was approximately 7 p.m. We received multiple calls. I'm just going to say generalize right now. The release provides some specifics as to where, but in the Exchange District area, unfortunately, there's a number of streets reported where multiple groups, two that we're aware of at this point, where individuals were confronted by multiple individuals in a van. These individuals were confronting the groups, engaging in a conversation. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it at this point, but they would engage in a brief conversation. Obviously, the confrontation would escalate. One individual in particular in the vehicle presented a firearm on the first occasion, gave chase to, in the first instance, there were 2 victims. Second instance, there were 3 victims. And this individual would produce a firearm. Multiple shots were discharged on both occasions. And very unfortunately, one individual was struck during the second incident, transported to hospital, initially in unstable condition, later upgraded to stable. Our investigation obviously went from 0 to 100 very quickly. We had a number of police resources dispatched. My understanding, we had first cruiser car there within 2 minutes, so very, very quick response, and providing aid to the victims very quickly. Obviously, members of our Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service, a big part of this investigation and a big part of the support required, especially by the individuals struck. And again, our investigation commenced. We were, again, receiving multiple reports with respect to what we were dealing with, suspects involved, vehicle involved, and that specifically involved General Patrol members. And in instances like this, very common for our tactical support team. These individuals obviously have the expertise, they have the training, and they have the equipment to engage in volatile situations like this. The investigation unfolded. We were able to locate an abandoned vehicle believed to be the suspect vehicle, and a short time or a period of time later, 2 suspects believed to have been in that vehicle at the time were located, and as I indicated, a male and female suspect were taken into custody. Firearm was recovered, and those individuals have been in our custody since that time. And a number of interviews obviously taking place, a lot of dynamics when we're dealing with multiple areas, multiple individuals, whether they be witnesses or victims, and now we have accused. There's a lot of work to unfold, and members of our major crimes unit were actively involved and put in a lot of hours on this investigation. So witness account is very important to us, because we're going to put all those pieces of the puzzle together, and we're going to take bits and pieces of that information and try and put that full story together with respect to our investigation. And again, our goal each and every time is to make an arrest and hold people accountable for their actions.
What sparked this exactly? Were these people in the van out doing this, or was there something that started this?
Yeah, great question. And that's a big part. We're always looking for motive. Like, why are individuals engaging in violent acts like this? And I wish I had a clear and concise answer. At this point, we believe these individuals were randomly confronting groups of people. There's no indication at this point why those groups were being targeted, but we certainly believe that these incidents are isolated. Based on the information we have right now, the young people that we have in custody may or may not be somehow associated to the gang or even drug culture to some extent. And we're seeing individuals make poor choices when they are engaged in that type of high-risk lifestyle. So again, I've partially maybe answered your question, but maybe not fully. We are speculating to some degree that these individuals were doing so because they were in possession of a firearm and they saw opportunities, potentially motive to rob them of property, things escalate, quite simply just to intimidate and just show power with respect to being in possession of a firearm. Poor choices, plain and simple.
Any idea as to whether or not this was a gang initiation or anything along those lines?
Again, there's not something that I would be able to say, but we know for a fact that, and really sadly, we're acknowledging more and more young people entering gang and gang lifestyle. There's no question that we're all aware that incidents like this could be a form of initiation, but by no means are we acknowledging that. Being a part of gangs obviously is a culture where individuals are encouraged to be involved in high-risk lifestyle, be involved in purchasing drugs, selling drugs, trafficking, whatever the case may be. So again, that information, we may or may not get to the bottom of. Our focus obviously are the victims directly involved, and we're so thankful that they're okay. And providing the public with the reassurance that we're doing everything we can to create that culture of safety in our downtown. It is a high priority for us and for the city of Winnipeg, and our response and the outcome. Again, we're thankful we're not talking about a homicide. We're thankful that we have 2 people and potentially more will be in custody. The investigation is still unfolding. We're still conducting interviews, and members of our major crimes unit are actively involved.
What is the message to the people out there in downtown? Because this happened in the evening, people were out.
Mm-hmm.
It happened in an area full of bars and restaurants. What is your message to the people regarding the safety issue?
Yeah.
Because it involved firearms, so
Yeah.
it's something which is very unusual to happen.
Yeah, no, I think that's an incredibly valid question. I enjoy downtown. In fact, tonight I'll be going downtown to enjoy the Jets game. I want to feel safe, and everyone has that right to feel safe. Unfortunately, downtown, it's a hub. There's a lot of people in our downtown community embracing it for what it is. And unfortunately, there are incidents that are going to happen like this that we quite simply can't predict them. We're always going to encourage the public to be very mindful of their surroundings. We're always going to be very encouraging the public to engage police in that positive way, provide whatever information they can with respect to suspicious activity, information after the fact with respect to ongoing investigations. We really have to do our best to embrace our downtown for what it is, because we all do enjoy coming down here. But there are going to be instances that we can't predict.
Talk about the response, 2 shootings in that area. You had said initially that the response went from 0 to, I believe it was 100. Maybe just talk a little bit about what kind of response takes place when there is potentially active shooter in the area.
Yeah, I'll talk about typically what police officers might hear and see with respect to being dispatched to a very high priority call like this. Oftentimes we're provided with very limited information. We know where we're going generally. We know generally what has occurred, but we don't have the full scope of what's going on. And we always know that information is fluid. It's ever changing, right? So we obviously are making our way to an area where we deem it unsafe based on the information that's provided to us, but we're very focused on providing support where support needs to be. So we do our best to, for officers to approach that area in a way where victims can be, contacted initially, making sure that Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service are actively involved, especially when we have injuries. And we also want to create, whether we're talking about a perimeter or creating an environment where we can get individuals into custody as quickly as possible. And that's our focus almost each and every time. How we go about it might be different. We're going to use numerous resources available to us. Today I'm talking about General Patrol and members of our tactical support team, but in the past we talk about our ability to incorporate Air One. We talk about our ability to incorporate, and we've talked about this a little bit, our drone unit, which is something that's we're starting to utilize more and more and seeing huge benefit. So again, we have resources at our disposal, and again, our focus is to determine what has happened as quickly as possible, and again, focus on victims and getting individuals into our custody so that the matter doesn't progress And again, making arrests and holding people accountable is essentially the reason why we're out there and the nature of our business.